Everyone give it a big thumbs up. All right. What do we have going on? Where are we? Where are we? There it is.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the January 21st episode of MVP Office Hours. It is great to see all of you. I hope everyone is healthy and happy and safe and experiencing 2022 in a way that is, well, let's just say that's
not like the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I am Squire Kirshner. Joining me hosting today is Dale Ziegler and Joy Shutters-Helbing. We can be reached via a variety of chatter tags, as well as mvpofficehours.info and our MVP Office Hours Gmail if you need something. The caveat being, of course, that questions are best posted into the success community. It is your friend. There's a lot of people trying to help each other in lots of ways there. So start there. Our events are normally the first and third Friday of every month, and MVP Office Hours Portugal is always the last Thursday of the month. Carlos is great. If you've had a chance to join, you'll know that. If you've met him, you also know that. I said normally because our next appointment schedule would be the 4th. However, that is admin live at the exact same time. We all agreed that that is probably the best hour that you could spend, and so we are going to cancel for the 4th and direct you to participating in admin live for the spring 22 release. Please go do that. It will be worth your time. In the meantime, welcome everyone. Like always, we're all MVPs because we all want to help each other out. So it's great to see all of you. Everyone participates. It's not the Squire, Joy, and Dale show. There's a lot of smart people offering lots of smart ideas. So share your experiences, your inputs, your whatever, and make sure that your voice is heard. If you've got a question, post it in the chat or raise your hand. We'll get to you in the order that they're received. Please share your screen. Of course, like always, don't share real data if you can help it. It is recorded, and we don't want you giving up anything that shouldn't be shared to the interworlds. And if you can't be recorded, I'm sorry. We will do our best to help you in the success community. Post any link to any document that's valuable in the chat. We try to grab as many of them we can and put them in our slide deck. And when you're not talking, please mute so it saves everybody a headache. Registering for live events when I click on register. Adriana will definitely come back to that. Next up, as I just mentioned, Release Readiness Live is coming. February 4th is admin live. It's also developer live that same day. And then all the club sessions are the following week. Go to the Release Readiness Trailblazers group and join that so you get notice of all of the things. There's so many things. Or you can go to that really long and hard to read URL to get to the Release Readiness spring schedule. Both will get you where you need to go. Community events, Cactus Force is happening right now. If you're participating in that, you're not participating here and vice versa. The Higher Dreaming is going to be next week. As far as I know, it has not been rescheduled. And then there's nothing on the events calendar until April. Unfortunately, the 3 things on that calendar are Northeast Dreamin', Texas Dreamin', and Trailblazer, rebranded Trailhead DX to Trailblazer DX, which I think is a good idea. But they're all the same week, and that's going to be a challenge. Dale.
Actually, so Salesforce is working with the Northeast and Texas Dreamin' teams to try to get theirs rescheduled.
Oh, how nice.
They recognized that they landed on that weekend, and so they're trying. Okay. So yeah, Northeast and Texas may change.
Yeah, and those are usually pretty well attended events, so that's pretty great that they're doing that. So keep an eye on that. In the meantime, all of the links to all of the things is in the Trailblazer app in the waffle. You can get to the Salesforce events and the expert sessions and the adoption sessions and the events, the community event sessions. All those are right there. And then from that same site, you'll be able to get into Trailblazer groups and get into any meetings and virtual docs, and everything's out there. Success community is your friend. Just one more call out before the day comes and goes. The MFA cutover date is February 1st. Hopefully everyone on this call is fully aware of that and helping to make sure that your businesses, your partners, your orgs are not going to be surprised by that date. If you've got questions, reach out. The community is really great. A lot of us know some about it and are dealing with it. So the security.salesforce.com/MFA has all the important links. That's probably your best place to start. Resource Hall of Fame hasn't changed, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I feel like there were some links last week that I missed that probably should be here. So we'll keep that on the radar. And there were a lot of things we didn't get to last week. So I posted as many as I could in here. And if we've got time to get to all of them, we will, but we also have a couple questions. So I wanted to make sure, oops, sorry, Ray is trying to join. Sarah, thanks for trying to help Claire out. Did you get a chance to meet up and resolve that problem? That's awesome. You're an MVP. It seemed like it was a really straightforward, just kind of like it was easier to talk it through than type it out kind of situation. Awesome. Cool. All right. Jen had a question about a matrix report, and I saw Steve jump to the hero stance, the hero landing, and help with that. I know Jen sometimes joins, and if she did, wasn't sure if she wanted to give any feedback. It doesn't look like she's on, so we'll move on. Melena, I think I pronounced that correctly, had a lot of questions about that email composer field last week. We never really got to a point where I think she felt comfortable, and she posted as well on the success. I saw David Giller tried to help as best as he could, along with lots of others. Has anybody given any thought to that one that was on last week and come up with any new ideas? Otherwise, we'll skip past that one as well. Once, twice. Okay, cool. Well, not cool. We'd like to solve it, but we can't. So Lizelle had a question at the end of the call last week about Health Cloud. I don't see Lizelle today either. There was a little bit of conversation on the success. We'll come back to that if she joins. But if you have any ideas, feel free to post them or call it out, and we'll go from there. Jana had a question about Health Cloud, not on today. So I think I feel like we talked about this. Does this ring a bell with anyone? No? Okay, cool. We'll keep going. If anybody joins, we'll come back and help with those. Christine had a question about Proposify and had a pretty good response on the success. So I think that one's probably solved for the time being. And Eleni had a question about Gmail integration and sync. Eleni, did you join today? Nope. Okay. So if anyone on this call feels like they could help with any of those people who also posted the success and want to give some details, it would be awesome. And otherwise, we'll spend our time today with the people who joined. So let's see, Adriana, is that where we want to start about the register issue?
Sounds good.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah, there was an email that came out and it said, it basically sends you to a website and you put your information in and hit register and nothing happens.
For which event? For what?
Actually, it told you the whole schedule, but it doesn't let you pick. Let me see if I can put the link into.
For the release readiness?
Yeah.
Yeah, so once you register, it normally redirects to a page where you can download the calendar events, but you didn't get that?
No. So that's the link the email sends me to. I just put in the chat, and when I put the information in and fill it and hit register, nothing happens.
Do you have any pop-up blockers or?
No, I've never had a problem before.
Yeah, I just did this morning and it redirected to that page where you can download the calendars. So
Same
no
error.
error either, though, huh?
No errors for me either.
It does or does not?
It does.
Potentially clear your cache and try again.
And how do I do that?
What browser are you on?
Chrome.
You shift F5.
And you selected job role because that's, for me, that's the one that's blank. You have to
Mhm.
select, but
Yeah, everything else auto-filled. I've signed up for a few events, I guess.
No, I did select job role and employees.
Mhm.
If I hit Shift F5, nothing happens. It
Right.
just kind of reboots that page.
Are you in a position where you can share? Maybe we can figure out what the Chrome browser might be popping up to help with that. But it should, once you get registered, just take you to a new page with all the links.
Yeah, how do I'm on, where do I, viewing your,
Maybe I
Flyer,
have to
you'll need to
stop sharing one
sharing.
second.
Um,
There you go.
I- just through the link to that page in the chat. I don't know if it'll work if you haven't registered, but you could probably just get to it directly.
Thank you, Sarah.
can you guys see my screen?
Not
Yeah.
no,
Sorry.
Oh, maybe. There we go.
So I'm on here and I fill everything out and then I hit register and nothing happens.
Interesting.
It's that little red, oh, that's your icon. Never mind.
Like a
So
dead button.
if you leave this open and open Sarah's link in a new tab, does it resolve the link, or do you get back to this page?
Let's see.
Well, Tyler was experiencing the same thing.
And had to go to Edge with it. That's like two swords.
Yeah, it's the worst. There you go. That's where it should have taken you.
It did not, but now that I'm here, do I still have to register? Or can I just add it to my calendar? Is it gonna send me a link or how's that gonna work?
They don't actually take registration. It's more so just to get a feel for how many people are signing up, and then from not in like very informally, and then from there it's you add it to the calendar. There's no verification, there's no anything. You just join the event at that time.
Where do you go to join it? Does it
It's
give
in
you that?
it's in the invite.
If
When you
in
add
the-
it to the calendar,
When you add it to the calendar, it'll be there. Okay, cool.
yeah.
That'll work. Thank you.
Yep.
Bet. Let's see here. Where are we at next? I've lost track of who gets to be next up.
We don't have anybody up next.
Uh-oh.
I know, if we guys don't have anything to talk about, I've got a good formula question though.
Ernesto does have an MFA question.
All right.
Hello, hello.
Hey there.
Hi, everyone. Let's see. Hello. Sorry about my background. I didn't know I had this. So the MFA question that I have, it's about the multi-factor authentication, just in case everybody needs it spelled out. What did you guys do? Because I know that Salesforce will start, they will like to have it by February 1st, activated. And then I had a call with them and they say that sometimes during this year, they will force it. So they will actually enforce it for everyone. So they will activate it for everyone. Obviously, I'm part of the IT team on my company and I'm acting as admin, business analyst, all kinds of stuff for Salesforce. But I'm just curious if you guys used any of the normal providers that usually a company has, enterprise level. It's kind of like SSO, is it Azure, is it Active Directory, is it a single sign-on, one login, those kind of things? Or did you guys use the app that Salesforce provides? If it makes any sense.
Sure. So I'll just start, but I'm sure a lot of us are dealing with this. So we were planning to roll out Microsoft Authenticator for standard Salesforce SSO, or standard MFA. Our IT team kind of swarmed to it, and we decided to instead convert to our existing SSO configuration to use SSO with MFA. And so we are now going to be going from Microsoft AD to Azure AD with MFA, which achieves the goals. And so we kind of went down both paths. and both achieve the goals. Is there something specific that you're looking for, or you just want to know what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking also, yeah, they prefer Microsoft Authenticator,
Well, who does?
IT.
Okay, you're IT. All right, cool.
But for me, it's about the user experience. Because right now I'm testing it on myself, and if I can, the Salesforce Authenticator, what's nice about it is that you can save the location. So let's say I authorize my computer. I know it's not safe. Yeah, I authorize my computer, then I don't have to worry about it anymore. It just kind of checks with my phone. It looks at if anything changes, like browser or IP or something like that, then it asks me to approve it on my phone. But all I have to do is touch my phone, and with Face ID, it's great. With the Microsoft Authenticator, you have to go and grab the code.
Mhm.
So I figure if they can set it up with the text message, that would be great. But
Can't do it.
Nope.
probably not right.
No text messages.
Nope.
There you go.
And the location identifier doesn't work.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
been-
think that works very well.
At
Right.
all. They had to
At
shut
all?
it down. It was bugged
Yeah.
up, and now I think there's a risk with it. So I don't know if it's coming back.
Hmm.
To just to dispel one thing, and then people can dispel what I'm dispelling. What you were told about the enforce, that they will enforce your org. Well, yes, I guess they're going to turn on the requirement to have MFA, but there is no way, no how that they can enforce automatically your org to turn to MFA. Because there's too many variables. The way that our org is using it, and we've got a large org with thousands of users, and we're doing it all certificate based. So certificate on their PC, we use Active Directory, single sign-on, and the combination of those, no one's going to have to enter a code with that unless they are outside of that domain. But that is the user experience that our users are going to have. They're going to log in as normal because of the security certificate-based MFA that we already use. They don't have to re-authenticate again.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking more. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're probably gonna use single sign-on, because you go to the website, you log in, click Salesforce, and then it takes you there. That's probably the easiest. I think. Yeah, I just wanted to see what's out there. I see the chat right now that is kind of going, so that's good ideas. At least I think we're on the same page. It's kind of like whatever IT chooses almost. But yeah, to me, I made it clear to them. I'm part of the IT and not the security portion of it. But I made it clear to them. I'm like, look, I want the easiest experience for them. I don't want to go chase for phones or things, but I get it. And then also, we also have the problem where we have users in Europe, which they have different rules on security stuff. So, okay, well, I just wanted to know what most of you did. Okay.
I think the biggest thing that we've been trying to verbalize to leadership is that February 1 date is it enforcement of it is going to be a challenge, and even testing will be a challenge. But at the end of the day, if you're not achieving the goals, you are out of the contractual compliance that you agreed to with Salesforce. And it's kind of that weird, you're not in trouble until you are in trouble situation.
Yeah.
And even after that deadline where I think I read like a 3-month lead time to when they enforce it for your instance or whatever, even that is still, it's just, do you have the security set up in place to either say SSO is your high assurance authentication, or MFA is your authentication? But after that, the comment that I keep reading is that there will be a standards-based assessment of your SAML at some point. They don't have an answer for it right now. So I think the end of the day is you do the due diligence, you implement as directed, and just assume that at some point when they come knocking, you won't be at risk.
Right.
And less about, are we going to get caught?
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, I'm curious, Squire, what that standards-based assessment is going to be, because last time I talked to the folks, at Salesforce. They said, when we look at your org, we can tell by the way that your users are logging in that you use SSO.
Yep.
We can also tell other things about your users based on the way that they're logging in, and they can give us that report back through our success advisors at Salesforce. What they cannot tell you, and we've asked us, so tell us, what is that marker that says that our users are logging in with MFA? There's nothing yet.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious. Joy has her hand up.
So one of the things they can tell is if the same login is logging in under different computers all over the place. If
Mhm.
people are sharing a login, and they will call you out on it, and they will cancel your contract.
Nice.
Yeah, I was going to ask Stu, with that, like, is it something that you can get from your org-wide login history, or does that information have to come from layers deeper
Yeah.
down Salesforce can
No,
give you?
it has to come from Salesforce.
Gotcha.
And we had to go several layers down from our AE to find out the right people to talk to. But no, it won't show up on your login history or any audit logs on your side. That at least that I can tell. But they can tell on their side all the details of your login history.
The
Who's
only thing I
putting
can-
Salesforce at risk?
Yeah.
Well,
What
yeah, I
I
mean-
had read somewhere that they're able to vet out the SAML message and identify how you got through the door. Basically, that's the standards protocol. So, but I haven't seen it. So I'm interested. Who did you start the conversation with to get that output?
my AE,
Okay.
and then they got me to the customer success reps, and then a layer deeper from that.
Cool.
And I don't recall the title of the people that I ended up talking to, but
I'll
sorry.
forget if you tell me anyway, but that's a good place
Yeah.
to start.
So follow-up question in the chat, just so we have it recorded, because people who view the recording won't see the chat. Do you have to have MFA in sandboxes as well? Not required in sandboxes according to the MFA expert coaching sessions that were held last week. So it's a production only requirement.
But they will nag and beg and harass you every time you log into that sandbox. I guarantee you'll get a
Okay.
warning message saying you are logged in without MFA.
So will it
Won't the
will it be a
sessions-
warning message, or will it be the usual, like if you do try to log in from a different IP or a different browser and it says, hey, we emailed you a verification code, put in the number. Will it be as simple as that, or will it be an actual, hey, you really should do MFA?
The real trick is that,
Every
it
time
probably
you
won't apply to
refresh.
Scratch or standard or dev boxes, but maybe fulls and partials, because it's really about the data that the concern
Yeah.
is sitting at, right?
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
and Joy, I was going to say the same thing. When you refresh that sandbox, it's going to pull the permission sets from production. So you just got to remove that permission set in your sandbox.
Or is there some setting where you can put a checkbox that says, this is a sandbox, do not. I don't know. You have to go in and turn off that MFA thing every sandbox refresh. I don't know.
There
I
is
mean, I guess it would be worth going to MFA documentation and doing a Control F on the word sandbox and
Yeah.
see what
the
comes up.
FAQ covers all of it. It also covers things like external access, community access, and all the things is in the MFA FAQ. Granted, it is lengthy, but it's all there.
Well, thank you. That helps.
That's a great question. Thanks for bringing that up, Ernesto.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Todd, question about mass transfers.
Sorry, I'm here. Got pinged by my support person. Anyway, so mass like ownership transfers on accounts do not trigger any flows.
What do you,
When you go into setup and go like mass transfer and change, so we have a sales rep leave. So we take all those accounts and reassign them to another sales rep as the owner. No flows get triggered, and that's documented.
Yep.
How the heck do we catch those changes to send through our integration to other systems?
who and when and why is the mass transfer mechanism being triggered as opposed to on the actual data side of things or in the UI?
Because there's 200 accounts to move. They don't want to move one at a time.
What about you as an admin doing a data load?
I usually hand this off to someone else to take care of that actually knows what's going on is the issue.
I mean, I think if
So
a
what you're
change to
saying-
the owner is a critical piece of criteria for the
Yes.
automation to run, I think
For the
we have
automation to
a
run.
pretty heavy process conversation of, no, we need to have someone one way or another do this. You can't rely on that setup mechanism.
That was just what was recommended by the consultants when we did that. And it is, I mean, it's fast and easy and it does all the child opportunities and
free.
contacts and all that
Yeah.
good stuff, but it's just nothing triggers and sends anything to our other systems because we're doing those with record triggered flows.
Yeah, that functionality was built by Salesforce years and years and years ago before a lot of the automation capabilities came to be. And honestly, I think it's one of the forgotten pieces of functionality of, hey, as we enhance the whole platform,
Yeah.
what all are we impacting?
One of those before automation type things, huh?
Very likely.
Well, not before automation, but more about before you had the power of the automation that we've got now, right?
Yeah,
Workflow rules have been around forever, but
Right.
you weren't able to do the things that you can do now with Flow.
Okay. So I haven't played with it yet, but the change data capture, will it be recorded in there with a mass operation or not?
It should, yes.
So we might be able to catch at least 90% of it that way. There's some objects we need that they're not putting in the CDC right now. Specifically account team and Opti team.
Yeah, I mean, and keep in mind too, that one of the reasons why that is happening is, like you just described the problem. If you change an account, how many opportunities and account team members and products and quote, like how many things are being impacted by that processor?
Right.
And your flows could literally fail on the fly and you'd never be able to complete it because of the quantity that it could handle. So, I mean, personally, I think that the mass transfer has become moot because of all the other cooler things that we can do and finding different ways to do it, like just a data load, just have to write a class that just does it. So then you can trigger it the way you want to trigger it at the scope you want to trigger it is good. Granted, the account opportunity hierarchy is just such a embedded and lengthy like architecture. You might have to come up with a unique solution for those.
Okay. All right. I'll keep exploring our options and see what we can do. So I appreciate the info.
and Todd, I'll be totally on. I mean, if it is as simple as a data load, don't forget Apex data loader, you can trim that batch size all the way down to 1 to ensure that every process gets done, because the API is going to take the time to fully process that one record. And that may be all you need. You just have somebody babysit it to make sure the job completes.
Right. Right. And I actually have one flow. I can't remember what I did it for. I actually have a loop running in it, and I build my record sets. And when I hit a certain number, I break the loop basically and write it out. And then I come back and do another record set and then commit it. And I just keep counting and looping so I don't run into the limits.
Right.
So, okay. So you're saying basically stop using the mass transfer and find another way to basically move it through the UI and not in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
If you're using Flow
maxed
to do
out
other stuff,
the
yeah.
capability of that functionality.
And it just doesn't, because it doesn't trigger anything, we can't capture it and move on. So, all righty. Not what I wanted to hear, but we'll move on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I want to go back to something you said too, because there's one other, a lot of people don't realize this, but when you use data loader, because it does batch, if anything fails, it fails in that whole batch of records, but you don't really know where it happened. And then you end up with more work trying to figure out which record caused that block of 50, 100, 200 records to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And so like anytime you've got nested flows, processes, automation, whatever. Going small takes longer, but it's so much more easy to debug because
Right.
you get a record that failed and just let's not lose track of that.
Yeah, because
And-
we're controlling it, we can follow it.
And also important to call out, that's on the Apex data loader. Workbench, you cannot change batch sizes. It's stuck at 200, and yeah, to Squire's point, life sucks if one of those records fails in that batch in Workbench.
Yeah, I'm not a real Power Workbench user. I've only been in it a couple times. My data loads are all done with Beta Loader
Right.
and my exports also. So
Does data loader IO allow you to change batch sizes if you're using that?
I don't know.
Boy, it's been forever since I had IO open.
Right. But Apex, yeah, you can fully control the batch size.
Okay. All righty. Thank you much.
So our next question was Joy, which she had to go jump to a meeting. She might be right back. Maybe we'll get this answered for her, but she posted in the chat just a generic string of text in a long text field, and she needs to pull out of it. She has an open parentheses, she has a city, comma, state, and then she has a closed parentheses. She needs to be able to extract out just the city, comma, state. So whatever is inside the parentheses. Sarah, good call on regex. I know in Excel, I would find the location of the open and closed parentheses and use like a mid statement to say, get me that between where you found whatever. But honestly, I don't know how much of that function of those functions exist in Salesforce. So everybody go to the chat and give it a look, see if you have any thoughts or ideas, or if you've done it before, or
You could probably do a left and a right.
Yeah,
Everything.
mid, I think also exists. The hardest part is going to be the long text field part
Yeah.
because doesn't play nicely with formulas usually.
well, in the mid, there is no left or right. The mid, you still have to be able to identify what character position the parentheses are in. And does Salesforce give you that capability?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
has a function that would do that. It's that can you access it in long text fields?
That's my concern. You can definitely access everything. Basically, you can trim everything that's before the parentheses and trim everything after the other parentheses and get what's left. But I don't know if you're going to do that within a long text field. There's a lot of limitations with that.
Right.
I sort of wonder if can you have a formula field that returns text that's just like the first X number of characters of the long text field and then do a formula on that field? Like it's kind of cumbersome, but
It goes back to the question of limitations within long text. I mean,
Right.
theoretically,
Yeah, I mean-
yes, you could on a normal text field. Can you on a long text?
It also depends
And
on
what's
how
the
long.
compiler going to do with that? Are you going to start to break the compiler?
yeah. I'm going to play around with it.
Functions are a heck of a lot heavier on the compiler than people really give credit for. So, anybody know the compiler size of the CASESAFEID function?
Yeah.
2,400.
That's wow, really?
A lot. Yeah. Just yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So having a bunch of CASESAFEID fields are actually making your page loads pretty heavy.
Bingo.
Yeah, boy.
But we don't have any other questions after this. I mean, I guess if anybody has a dev org or something open and they want to play with it, or
Yeah,
Might.
I'm trying things right now. See what happens.
Hey, I have a
Leave
quick
Sarah
question.
alone, we'll have an answer in like 5 minutes.
I have a
ahead,
really
Chrissy.
quick question. Someone mentioned the other day, and I didn't know if it was possible. I haven't looked it up yet. You know, when you're changing on the UI, the owner of a record, and it's automatically checked to notify them, and you uncheck it if you're not going to notify them.
Mhm.
Can that be defaulted to off? Because I didn't think it could, but someone said, "Oh, you can do that." I'm like,
I think it can in the classic page layout. So if you go into classic page layouts where you modify the field layouts and everything, and then there's a button called layout properties, there's some additional options. Because like I know You can, like on cases, there's an option that you can default whether or not assignment rules fire. Same thing with leads. Like there's some goodies in that layout properties button.
Oh, I probably haven't played with those. Thank you.
Yeah, and so send notification email might be one of them.
Awesome. I will go look at that. Thank you.
And if
Yeah, I'm
not, then
looking at
no.
mine. Mine's unchecked. Yeah, so it must be a setting somewhere.
Okay.
I thought there was a global setting about notify users on record change in the object, but I can't find it now.
I have a related question. Someone was asking me about the defaulted users that pop up when you change your record. Is there a particular, is it a cache setting or like when you go to hit the little magnify, I'm looking at it right now and talking, but when you go to look up somebody, if you type in something, it kind of pre-populates a couple?
So I thought, doesn't Einstein search tell you the last couple anythings you opened? Isn't that what it's doing?
It could be that. I never really put much thought into it until someone asked, can I have it pre-populate to me or something, you know? But,
I thought it was most recent as well.
Yeah, I think it is recency by user.
Click the user. Okay. Okay, thanks.
So I Googled, I put it in the chat, but that notification thing, I didn't check for sure, but it might be in the support settings and setup. No guarantees, but looks like that might be the place to look for it.
Uh,
My Google says.
oh, got it. All right, and then Tyler asked a follow-up question back on the CASESAFEIDs. So, no, you didn't mess up, but CASESAFEID, in my opinion, is it's both useless and incredibly useful at the same time. Every record in Salesforce has a unique ID. In Classic, I think really it only applies to Classic. I think Lightning and URL structure and everything may have actually fixed it, but in Classic, in the URL, you'd only see the 15 character ID and it's case sensitive. Same thing in reports. If you drop the record ID into a report, you'd only get the 15. Whereas everywhere else in the world, whether it's data loader, any integrations, anything like that, would use the 18, which is case insensitive. The only time CASESAFEID would really, I mean, I guess there are a couple of applicable use cases for CASESAFEID, because once you get 15 character IDs out to Excel and Access and Microsoft applications, it stops being case sensitive, which can potentially cause some problems because capital K is the same as lowercase k once you get it outside of Salesforce. I don't know that anybody can explain why CASESAFEID is so heavy on the compiler. You didn't do a bad thing because it really is a great admin tool to have, like on page layouts. If you have users still in Classic, or if you're looking at a report that might only be showing the 15 character ID, but if you ran a data load or something that exported out the 18s, you still have something that you can visually see. But it definitely doesn't serve any valid purpose in downstream process or anything like that, because Salesforce can see either a case sensitive 15 or a full 18 and know exactly what record to work with. It really is just a visual cue of this 15 character ID is actually this 18 character ID.
Thank you.
Incidentally, I think it'll work. Joy's formula, mid will work fine on a long text field. I'm just trying to figure out how to chunk it out of the middle. It's just writing a formula, but I will keep clicking on that, but hopefully I'll finish it before we're done.
Very nice. Thanks for doing the legwork on that.
I am still poking around to try to find the notification email checkbox. Andrea, I think your idea helps with the case notifications in that support settings section, but I think there's a global one for all records, or it might be by object. I'm still digging.
Spencer, hey all, any advice, lessons learned for admins looking to get into development? Skills to focus on first, resources, what worked in your journeys? Oh boy, that's a great conversation. Spencer, if you want to go off mute and tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, hey everybody. And thanks for putting this on. I've been watching on YouTube probably a little bit for the last year or so.
Very
kind
nice.
of
Well, welcome.
a cool moment for me. But yeah, no, just essentially at that point where kind of 2 years into the ecosystem and I'm saying, all right, I'd like to extend the platform a little bit, kind of comfortable with triggers, just learning what like get and set is in Visualforce, not really understanding anything with Lightning design system, just starting in JavaScript. And I'm like, all right, getting to that point where I can make an Aura component or an LWC component, it's like, that's maybe another 8 months away, I guess. I don't know what I'm basing that off of, but I'm just trying to be like, all right, I guess just work on triggers and writing test classes and just see how you get along for the next couple of months. So yeah, just trying to prioritize and hear what everybody else has to say about that.
I mean, the big thing is you're staring at the high dive and it's not scaring the crap out of you. So that's a huge first step.
Yeah.
There's a lot of developers that I think started clicking. So anybody got ideas?
I mean, I guess I would ask a question. Are you talking about getting comfortable with code and syntax and development patterns specifically, or comfort with the process that you're trying to develop towards and having it be like sustainable and a good citizen in your org?
More towards the latter, just like a sustainable way to just go about learning this stuff. Because like writing my first trigger took an entire month, and I'm like, this will get easier. It was just like, I've got a user, it's got related records, convert it to or contact, it's got related, convert it to a user, and then have those records look up to that. And that took an entire month. Writing that test class, I must have compiled that like 500 or 600 times before it worked. So I'm just like, I have a lot of patience, but just like the process or any, wisdom, and of course syntax and all of that. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is hard. This is really, really hard. I
mean, the first thing I would throw out is first understanding and this is me as a business analyst, business architect talking first, not even on the technical side, but first understand what could Salesforce potentially already do natively that you can build into the process so that you don't have to code for it, if that makes sense. But then also just understanding the process overall. And as someone who's honestly also looking to learn code and the programmatic side, but being very well versed in flow and process builder, are you visualizing any of it? Have you done anything on flowcharts? Have you put anything into flow first to at least get a sustainable set of functionality that you can then translate over to code? Because if it's not sustainable, yeah, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle no matter what tool you use. And it's only going to get harder with code. So first things first, how are you with process?
Yeah, I mean, there's been probably like less than 5% of cases just with my current position that I couldn't figure it out with flow. And I had to turn it over and say, hey, SI, can you help with this? So yeah, I'm just at that point now where I'm working on my first like invocable and then just, using that in my flow. So
and I'm not even saying, flow being the answer. I'm saying using it as a tool to help you start to build out what your code could and should be.
Yeah. Especially with looping right now.
Oh.
Yeah, and the way that I kind of look at it is like I'm kind of at a, I can get comfortable with triggers and I'll work on the test data factory and I'll try to make a bot with some Apex just on YouTube videos. But the way I kind of have this in my mind right now is like, until you know JavaScript at a pretty good level, like you're not, it's just kind of that skill set is going to be, Apex, get comfortable with Visualforce, do the test classes, then work on your HTML, your CSS, your JavaScript, and then in a couple of months progress to trying to make the first or a component or something like that. So I'll let y'all know how it goes, but I still plan on coming every week, so I'll keep you posted.
Gotcha.
What,
Well, and-
what tools are you using to kind of self-teach?
It's all visual right now. It's all YouTube. The Apex Developer Guide, I Control F a whole lot. Stack Exchange, sometimes GitHub.
So just a anecdote. So I went to school for forensic anthropology. I have degrees in biology and anthropology. And I'm a Salesforce architect now. So I wrote BASIC when I started college, and I didn't write a line of code until about 10 years ago. And what I really felt was important was identify the best way that you learn. And what I mean by that is, like, I found that I could turn 1,000 pages and not really get anything out of it. But if someone were doing it for me, it just absorbs and clicks. And so I found there's a website called Team Treehouse that is it's a web developer, like CBT type course. Prices are relatively good, and like the tone and content really registered with me. And so I started there, and I did my CSS, I did my HTML, I did my Java, I did my JavaScript, I did my, I just worked through it all and just had someone teach me in a way that really registered me without any context to what I was going to use it for. And then the first thing I did was, okay, I'm going to build something that I care about, because then it stuck. Even with like Trailhead, you're doing what they want you to do, and you don't care. You just want the outcome. It doesn't mean anything. But if you find a way to, in my case, I used to play a lot of competitive card games. And so I built an interface that allowed me to scan and register data from these cards, and built like a database. And like, because that mattered to me, and I knew what I wanted and how I tweak things and how the interactions work, it made it all lock in. That's my journey, but I feel like there's no right way. There's a right way for you. And really take a step back and think about, when I learned something, how did I learn it best? And just do that and stick with it. So
yeah, the other day I'm like, all right, I've got an infinite amount of tools and then like limited problems. So it's like, am I going to figure out what the hammer does, and then I have a hammer to fix this problem, or start with what do I want to do, and then find the tools to do that. So
yeah. And there's some great, like Pluralsight's a great site in my mind for just, if you just want to be like fire hosed with information. I love Pluralsight, but if you need a different style, find that style. Don't fight through it. I've heard people say that Khan Academy is awesome and not awesome, and that you just have to make that decision. So
yeah.
And Marty just threw out also David Liu's sfdc99.com.
That was I did take that one. That was a good one. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, keep us updated, because that's one of those big mountains
Like
a lot of
looking
us want to
into
try
the
to
bit.
tackle. Like, there's a reason not everybody's climbed Everest, but the ones who have done it have said it's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of weird. It's like, the more that Salesforce goes towards flow, the more maybe they do realize this, but they put kind of people like myself more interested to scratch that programming itch. So it might have the reverse effect of wanting people to go more programmatic than declarative. So yeah.
Joy, Sarah solved your problem, it sounds like.
No, I have some bad news.
Oh no.
The test I was doing wasn't a long text area, it was just text area. But I have another idea, which is, use a flow, record trigger flow, that you might be able to use a formula in there, blah, blah, blah. So a simple formula field won't work though. You're also on mute. Joy, I think you're on mute.
Am I on mute? Can you hear me?
Not that we can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was weird because it didn't. Anyway, so the good news is that if I can do it out of flow, I'm going to be doing two things, because there's two pieces of data I want to strip out of that string. One being the middle section, the other being what's in the paren. So we'll see what I can do. But the challenge is that it's never the same number of characters. So we'll have to see what I can do.
Where's it coming from, Joy?
It's coming from an API. And they are feeding the API into a custom object. And they chose, I'm sure they chose the long description field intentionally, actually, so that we can't strip out the pieces we want, so that we've got to go back to their tool to get the nitty gritty. And I'm like, I just want to be able to sort it out by the nitty gritty, and that's all right. I'll be smarter than they are.
You might be able to, I hate the idea of using code, but you might be able to vet it with a small trigger if something's feeding a table that you're handling later on. And I know Spencer can't wait to write another trigger, so he'll help you with it.
No triggers. No triggers. I don't have a developer on staff. It's and when I have a developer on staff, my approach will change. But until I have a developer, I'm just going to be like, we have got to keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the old college try though, Sarah.
Can you
I posted the formula that works with a long text area.
You have no idea like how crushed I was. I was like, what do you mean? Where's this field? Where's the field? Where's the field? And I was like, oh, and I can't change the field because it's part of their managed package. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, and it's a managed package too? Ah.
What about, can you use can you use flow to copy the long text into a standard text on creation and then use the formula on the now replicated unnecessary field, but it keeps you from having to write anything? Depends on how many you're getting updates on daily. You don't want to have a flow triggering 1,000 times, but if you're only getting a couple.
There could be hundreds. Yeah. And that's why I'm trying to contain it like on the space instead of creating stuff.
Yeah.
And there's updates to the existing, like it'll be updated as we go too. So, all right. I will start with that formula, Sarah. Thank you. And then maybe I'll use workflow.
Oh boy.
I think you should just dump the whole thing in Excel and, just let it go from there.
I'll just export it, daily and re-import it in the right field. That's fine.
There you go.
Sounds like job security to me.
Solve the problems.
All fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's all fine. The dog's not walking on hardwood floors. It's fine. What else do we have today? Anything? Anyone? No?
Quiet for the new year.
Taco heard everyone say it was quiet, and now he's going to say, what are you doing there? No? All right. Well, I don't know. What do we got? I got nothing. That was my stumper this morning. Because I went to look for that field and I was like, where's the field? And I'm like, why can't I find this field? I know it exists. What's it called again? And I went back and I looked, I'm like, this is why. It's because it's a giant field. They're not going to let me do anything with it. Too many characters.
So what they say about all of us.
I think I'll throw one more pitch to the MFA success community. Has been really helpful as people are cutting over in February. There's lots of questions being asked and answered there. So if you're panicking, you can't find it, that's a great place to start.
That's an actual success community group?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a star and then
Well, you can get to it from the helper. If you go to the MFA assistant, like the second or third to do is to join that group. It'll take you right to it.
Hi. Come here.
Come on, internet.
Sit. Let's see. I have a visitor today.
Oh, gotcha. And setup UI. Okay. I was going to put the link to the group in the deck.
That's an awesome idea. I should have done.
Occasionally, I have one.
Yes.
One a day, Dale. One a day.
More like one a week.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to work too hard.
Taco, can you say hello? Can you say hello? Can you give me a woof woof? Woof, woof.
There it is. All right. All right. Yeah, the link to that group will be in the deck when we share it out later.
All right. Well, I think for the first time in a long time, we actually are limping into 2 o'clock versus blowing right past it and not even looking at it. So I think we'll call it a day. Thank you everyone for joining. Keep us updated on your progress. Spencer, especially you, you're welcome back every time.
Except February 4th, because we're not meeting on February 4th.
Except for the 4th, right?
We won't be here. Taco says goodbye.
Bye, Taco.
Did you say they say goodbye?
All right. Thank you, everybody. It was great
Hey,
to
guys.
see you. Good luck
Real
going into the next
quick.
month. Oh, Melissa.
Hey, I just remembered I have a flow update for you.
Oh.
I was able to do the case comment notification for only one record type with a flow.
Awesome.
Nice.
So
Triggered
that's it.
directly off the case comment object, or did you have to work through case?
I don't remember. It was email message and then case. It was two
Gotcha.
different flows.
Nice.
So yeah. So I just remembered I needed to update you.
Thank you
Very
very much.
cool.
Something you want to demo next time?
No, thanks.
Okay.
I don't do flows. I'm not good enough at flows to even try it. to try and
Sounds like you
demonstrate.
got about 4 weeks to brush up your skills.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I'll wait a little longer than that.
Fair enough.
All right.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.